right knee will stay pretty forward, and then as you swing in the impact, it's going to start to rotate kind of onto the inside of your front big toe right there, rather than out there, that kind of like that dancing move we got. All right, so that right leg really feels planted. Hey, welcome back to Danford Golf Instruction. Today we're going to do a two-part video. Part one, we're going to talk about how your hips should move from the top of the swing down in impact, because I think a lot of the times we try to do too much with it, and really if we simplify it, you're going to play a lot better. All right, and then the second part, we're going to talk about, a viewer said, hey, I slide a lot in my golf swing. What can I do to stop that? All right, so we're going to answer his question, and so these two videos really should kind of go well together. So thanks for watching. Make sure you subscribe, hit the little bell button. All right, that way you get all the future videos that we have. Any thumbs up are always appreciated, and we appreciate your support. We're going to talk about what your legs, what your hips should be doing down into impact. So we'll break it down right leg, then left leg first. All right. So as you get to the top of your backswing, all right, you should know where the pressure should be. So it should be on the instep, and your leg should feel like it's moved off of a pole, and then your lead leg should feel like it's moved off of a pole. So you're really kind of turning in place, all right? But the pressure does go into your back leg. All right, I'll attach a little video link up top so you can check those out if you're not quite sure how you should actually move your hips in the backswing. So we'll get to the top. We're in good positions, weight's in the right spot. All right, we're going to talk about our right leg first. All right, so as the club starts to come down, the right leg is actually going to really feel like it stays in place. Okay, try to not let that kneecap kind of get out there in the backswing. Try to feel like it stays straight. And then on the downswing, right leg is going to feel kind of planted. All right, if you're looking to use the ground for more power, nobody goes onto the toes like that. They kind of, you'll see, you actually feel like your butt kind of moves backwards. All right, and then that right knee will stay pretty forward. And then as you swing in the impact, it's going to start to rotate kind of onto the inside of your front big toe right there, rather than out there, that kind of like that dancing move we got. All right, so that right leg really feels planted, turns to the inside. Your right foot actually feels like it kind of moves in like an outward kind of weird fashion like that. All right, so when you get to the top, it's kind of pushing, the foot kind of feels like it pushes that way. Keeps the legs nice and wide, and then that knee rotates inwards, and then on to the toe for the finish. Okay, so that's how the right leg moves. In the downswing, all right, left leg, right, it's going to feel like it kind of opens up. Right, the knees are going to kind of feel like they move apart, kind of like the Sam Snead squat idea. Right, that's why he said it felt like a squat, but it's basically he's just starting to use the ground to create more power. And then he comes down, the legs kind of spread apart, right? And then the leg will start to push into the ground. And as it pushes into the ground, it'll straighten out, right? If you're trying to kind of do anything weird to make the leg straight, you don't really have to, as long as you are pushing it into the ground to make it straight. That's how it goes straight. So if you have bent knee a lot, it's because you just don't use the ground effectively enough, okay? There's simple drills that you can kind of do, is just kind of feel like you push and the front leg moves backwards. You have to extend in order to do that. That's I think I saw Francisco Molinari doing that a few years ago. All right, so that's how our legs should move independently. Is right leg, left leg opens up, hit the impact, big toe, front leg's pretty straight, and we're good to go. All right, as far as the hips move, if I take it to the top of my backswing, when my hands get back in front of my thigh, my hips should almost be square. So from down the line, the legs should look like they kind of match one another. I don't want to see a lot of the front leg. Either way, I want to look like a mirror image, replacing one another. Okay, square, and then push into impact, and that little push will get that hip to open up nicely for you. All right, you don't have to be crazy open like Dustin Johnson. All right, he does that because he got tired of having a big miss as a hook as a big miss. So that's one way that he cured it, is to get more open. All right, a lot of us aren't crazy flexible to do that. All right, and this is just a whole lot simpler. So you can see that my hips don't move a great deal. All right, this will help you stay in posture, all sorts of good stuff. Okay. So it doesn't have to be super complicated. All right, make your hip movement a little bit easier. Don't try to get them crazy open, because if you're a person who slices it, it's going to become even worse. You should feel like your hips stay more square. All right. This is a very simple way how your hips, how your legs should move into your downswing. If you have any comments, make sure you leave some comments. We're going to move on now to the question of why do I sway and how can I fix it? One of our subscribers asked, how do I fix my sway? So the first thing is, let's say I'm just going to assume that you're right-handed. If you sway, you got to first pay attention to how wide your stance is. If it's too narrow, it's very easy to sway. It doesn't take a whole lot to sway. If you're too wide, it makes it a little bit harder, but you'll really feel like you have to move off the golf ball. Okay, so first off, if you feel like you sway, you might check your stance width. Make sure it's either not too narrow, not too wide. Simple idea is, if draw a line from the outside of the hip, it should go into the middle of each foot. That's how wide I would say your stance should be for your irons, a little bit wider for your driver. The next part is, where does our pressure move? So I want you to quit thinking about shifting your weight, because that's why we sway a lot, right? A lot of people have been taught to kind of move their hips. That's just not how it works. So you're going to feel like, as you take it to the top, you got to feel like you're pushing on the inside of your right foot, okay? And you need to do it in a way that you don't start reverse tilting, all right? Because then, yeah, the pressure's here, but I got a lot of weight on my lead foot, okay? So you have to feel like your head stays center. You can use your shadow on the ground, but the weight stays on the inside of the back foot, kneecap stays forward. So take it to the top. You really shouldn't be swaying. Now, if you sway on the downswing, okay, then you need to go back and watch the video that I just talked about how your hips should move. Right? If you struggle with the sway on the downswing, you can stick a stick right here into the ground, and if you do really good on the backswing, on the way down, if you sway, you'll hit it. So you'll learn to turn and post so you don't sway so much. So really, swaying is a lot of the idea of shifting our weight. All right? I don't want you to feel like you're shifting your weight. I just want you to feel like, as you turn back, you should feel like your head moves slightly. That's going to shift your pressure into your back leg where we need it. Weight stays on the inside, kneecap stays forward. Then on the downswing, hands to the right spot, push, post, all right, and then we'll be good to go. So just make sure it's not going that way. I don't know if you can actually feel that. That feels really hard. I don't think too many people really slide on the way down. Okay, so that's just some simple ideas on how you can fix your weight shift, or if you have an issue with swaying, and how your legs and how your hips should move at impact. Thanks for watching. Make sure you subscribe.